Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for LEAP 2026. It's finally time that it's been weeks of preparation and a whole lot of exciting discussions that has culminated into what we have today, which is our next edition number 4 of our LEAP flagship LEAP conferences. So, with that, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Buddha. I'm the Director of Product Ecosystem here at Tyke. I'm going to be the host, co-host for you for today. You'll probably see me in and out. You probably heard of me already, either at a previous Leap conference or at through those emails that would have gone out to you for your invitations and all the communication. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to have with me my partner in crime here, Laura Heritage.
Thanks, Buddha. It's great to be here and excited to share all the things we've learned over the few years and what's going ahead in financial services. And yeah, back to you, Buddha.
Wonderful. As I said, this is the fourth edition of our LEAP conferences over the course of about 2.5 years now. We've put together a few different versions and editions of these. And the point of each of these editions has been to help navigate some tectonic shifts that are happening in the API ecosystem, which is now expanded into the AI ecosystem. So back in 2024, that started off with the API Observability Conference, where we looked at the advent of OpenTelemetry, some of the observability requirements that were popping up more and more across sort of the integrated platform stack, and what it entailed to build a truly observable platform. It was an important thing that continues to be more and more valuable and important as we head into this AI native world. Then came Leap 2.0 a year later in 2025, where we explored the world of API governance. Once again, something that got picked up in a very, very strong way, something that had far reaching consequences of getting it wrong across different domains, across different platforms. And it pretty much provided the foundation, the right base for, once again, for a conversation that we're going to be having today, which is your AI infrastructure and what it takes to build a truly resilient infrastructure for that AI native future. Then we had LeapX Finance. This was our first foray into a domain-specific version of this back in October last year, where we looked at navigating the next era of financial services with APIs and AI. This was a more contained edition of Leap. It was a bit more ambitious edition of Leap, where we looked at what the specific needs and requirements of the financial services industry was. Today is the continuation of that discussion. At LeapX Finance, we started conversations around some of the key elements and topics in this particular space, in this domain of financial services. Today, we're going to be taking the next step of how do we go about implementing the kind of experiences that are driving the industry forward, the kind of challenges that are holding back the industry, and the intersection of APIs, AI, and financial services is what's going to make the basis of what we're going to be discussing today. So together, we're going to be taking that leap forward into the journey of learning and creating the AI control stack for financial services. Throughout the day, we're going to be looking and exploring what this AI control stack is, what are some of the key challenges that it looks to solve, what are some of those experiences that we are looking to achieve across the board. From an agenda standpoint, we have a really packed agenda. We're looking at roughly 10 sessions by my count, I think, if you were to remove sort of the closing ceremony, etc. The idea here was we're going to start off with the exploration of AI control stack through the lens of solving the AI infrastructure crisis. We're going to be looking at 7 key problems that are holding back your AI initiative, specifically in the financial services industry. What that means is going to be a theme that's going to be ongoing throughout the day. That's coming up next. We'll go into explorations of experiences, starting off with the expected API experience for Gen Z and what it takes to actually achieve them. We'll then look at some of the emerging technologies and agentic experiences that are driving the navigation of the great wealth transfer and what that entails. We'll look at the RBFCU playbook, who are the returning speakers from LeapX Finance, telling us if they were to start over today in their journey of open banking and FDX adoption, what would that entail? So we're going to be looking at that playbook a little bit closely so that you can start on your journey immediately. Then, just before lunch, we'll have Mark Boyd telling us a little bit about how to build digital infrastructure for the new era of open banking, some of the trends that he's been seeing, some of the trends that he's analyzed, and some of the gaps that he's been able to identify when it comes to the adoption of these standards and what's holding back the industry. We'll then go into the post-lunch segments, which are going to be all about designing resilient API infrastructure. In this case, we're going to be looking at 4 segments specifically designed for this. We're going to be looking at what are some of the key components of this resilient infrastructure? What are these KPIs that are driving some of these conversations? What could go wrong? And how do you overcome all of that? We'll follow that up specifically looking at the world of API security for financial services in part 2 of that, which APISec Universities or APISec.AI's Dan Barahona is going to join us for that session. We'll then head into the hands-on edition of this, where Laura is going to take us through the building the ultimate accelerator for FAPI compliance using Tyke and FDX. We'll then have the final segment of this Resilient by Design block with building financial platforms for 5 nines of resilience, something that folks over at Capital One have designed over a course of 6 to 7 years, what it took for them to achieve it, and what can we aspire to if we put all of these actions into implementation journeys. Finally, we'll have an open discussion about open standards, about FDX, open finance, open banking, how they are becoming more and more a competitive advantage for the world and the future of financial services. So a stacked and packed schedule for you, designed specifically with some of the themes that came up both at LeapX Finance, as well as some ongoing themes at the intersection of API, AI, and financial services. 13 speakers, 10 sessions, and 1 giant leap. That's what we have in store for you. So throughout the day, there are going to be different polls that you will be able to participate in. We want to keep things as interactive as possible. So I'm going to quickly put our first poll out there so that, just warming up a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what you wish to know more about or what you're curious about to experience or learn about today. It's open to everyone. Throughout all of the sessions, there'll be a couple of these polls coming in, some with activities where we want to help you out, take the next step. And then there's going to be segments that go into a little bit more of a gauge of who is in the room and what your interest areas are. We're partnering with APISec University for the first time as our learning partners. Typically at Leap, we do have certifications. We want to, again, enhance your learning journey. This time, we've partnered with APISec University, who kindly are providing us with a certification. So a certificate for their program called Certified API Security Analyst Exam, which is available for free. This is worth about $125 or $250, I think. So for all Leap attendees, this is going to be free access. So once again, huge value coming in. A big thank you to APISec. Workshop, we're going to be providing a workshop securing your financial services APIs. It's going to be a combination of audit, combination of roadmap, and there's going to be a speaking session later on at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, where we'll look at Resilient by Design, leveling up API security for financial services. Thank you once again, APISec.ai and APISec University. Now, how do you get the most out of today? Now, this is very, very important because we're going to be together for roughly 6 hours here. There's going to be a lot of really exciting things to experience. So engage, chat, use the polls, ask us questions. We want to hear from you. We want to learn what you are curious about and hopefully help you take the next step in that journey. Network, use the lobby. If you have come to this room, you've probably been through the lobby already. The lobby is going to be open 1 hour post the conference ends as well. So at any point of time, use the lobby to connect with other attendees, speakers, and the Tyke team. Share your key takeaways from sessions over social media. Once again, anything that you've learned, take screenshots if you need to. Feel free to do all of that. And yes, before anybody asks, we will be sharing the slides at the end of it, along with the video recordings of each of the sessions. That does not mean that you leave the room. It just means that you don't have to worry too much about missing out on anything, so to speak. So still come in, join us, and engage with us. And then commit to taking a leap forward in your journey of API and AI. And then finally, feedback. We'll touch upon this later on, but feedback will be very, very essential for us. So keep in mind, if you are attending these sessions, keep a mental note of what you liked, what you perhaps we could do a little bit better next time, and a topic that you would want to explore next. Thank you once again for joining us here. We're going to be off to our opening keynote with Laura and I. We're going to be exploring AI infrastructure crisis and how the AI control stack might be able to help us out with it. We'll be back in 1 minute. Thank you, everyone, for being here.